morning. This is July 27th, 2020. I want to say it's like day 136 since I had a real class in this room. This is beginner's lesson 3 for Shin, Arashi martial arts. Let's do some warm up, and then we're going to do a review of stuff we've covered. We're going to start with Ba Dua Jin. My Mandarin is 20 years rusty, so I probably pronounced that wrong. It means 8 silk brocade. It's 8 health Qigong exercises. Qigong attributes different health aspects to these movements, depending on the meridians and stuff like that. Do your own research and see how you feel about that. And if that's useful for you, great. If not, just take it as a normal warm-up. All right? So our first exercise will be 2 hands, wrist, lift the heavens. We're going to breathe in, feet shoulder width apart, second toe pointing forward. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Try to keep your tongue at the roof of your mouth. Breathe in. One more time. Breathe in. Breathe out. Okay. The second exercise is wise old owl looks around, or owl looks around wisely. We're going to pull our shoulders back at the same rate we turn our head to one side. So, breathe in. Out. Breathe in. Out. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see my shoulders moving back. Breathe in. Opening the chest. Breathe out. Breathe in. Of course, there's no need to turn for you guys, but I just want you to see what I'm doing from different angles. Breathe in. Messed that one up. Let's try that again. Breathe in. Out. In. Out. Okay. The third exercise is the most complicated of the set. Separating heaven and earth. Okay. Left hand on the bottom, and some traditional Qigong teachers will tell you which hand starts where based on being masculine or feminine. I don't know enough about that, and I don't really care. I'm sure there's some use for it somewhere, but for our application, just left hand up, left hand palm up on the bottom, right hand palm down on the top. And we're going to lift and push down at the same time, breathing out. Breathe in. Now the opposite. So the left hand is palm down, right hand is palm up. Breathe in. Breathe in. Back. Breathe out. Notice how my elbows are still bent and both hands are roughly on my center line. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more time. messed that up somewhere. I learned this set when I was 13, and I'm just in the last 2 years relearning it. So forgive me if I mess something up. All right. The next exercise is strum the bow to shoot the eagle. Feet shoulder width, double shoulder width apart. Horse stance. So my knees are bent here. I am not here. See, my knees are skinny here. My knees are out. So it's like I'm sitting on a box. I'm sitting on a horse. All right, hands together. Breathe in as you draw the bow. If you actually do Western archery, this anchor point's going to be way long for you, so just pretend. Breathe out as you release. Breathe in. Breathe in. Look like one hand's doing arrow punch and the other hand is doing a back side almost. And one more. All right. Okay. Hands to the sides. Palms up. Breathe out as one hand slowly turns to a horizontal punch. Breathe in. Breathe out. 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 Last one in the horse stance. Let's see, so that's strum the bow to shoot the eagle, and then punching while gazing fiercely. So with that, you almost want to feel hot, angry energy as you breathe out, and then relax and let it go. You don't need it. Use it. You don't need it. This will be bird shakes its tail. I want you to imagine you've got tail feathers on your butt. Okay? So we breathe in and out. In and out. So I'm kind of scooping at the bottom. In, out. In. One more each side. In. And out. Alright. Two hands warm the kidneys. There's a couple different translations of this. I'm going to do this at first from the side so you can see what I'm doing. Place my hands as close to my kidneys as I possibly can get them. I'm going to bend down. As I bend down, I'm breathing in and I'm running my hands across the backside of my legs. If you can reach all the way to the ankles here without bending your knees a ton, that's great. If you can only get to the hamstrings, that's fine. If you can get down to the calves, that's great. Come back in. Okay. Try to keep your back flat. Let me do a little better job on that. Breathe in. So you see I'm looking up. Now. In. Out. One more in. Out. Alright. And the last one I'll do forward once and I'll do from each side. It's bending over and bouncing on the heels. So you're going to bend over kind of like before, but we're not doing the kidney touch. Also on that, you can do it while digging the fingers into the glutes, hamstrings, calves. Gives a little bit of myofascial release, real slow like that, at the very most basic level. All right, so the last one we're just going to bend. And when you come back, push your hips out a little. Don't lean too far back. Come up and come up on your tippy toes, on the balls of your feet. Down. Breathe in. Breathe out. In. Out. And one more. Down. In as you raise up. Out. And that is the 8 brocade, 8 silk brocade, 8 pieces of silk. Silk brocade being a very valuable thing in old China. All right. I hope that you have reviewed lesson 1 and lesson 2. Let's do 16 punches really quick. I'm going to do it towards the camera once, and then I'm going to do it sideways once. I want you to do it with me. If you have not reviewed it, and you're not going to go back and look at the other video, watch this, then do it with me by watching it a second time. Okay. So, bow. X, X, X. Guard hands. Left vertical. Right vertical. Step forward, make sure your guard hands are right. Jab. Cross. Arrow. Recover. Step jab. Step cross. Crossover punch. Going to back up so the camera can see me. Do what you have to make sure you got plenty of room. Jab. Cross. Arrow punch. Recover. Step jab. Step cross. Crossover punch. Step up, palms down. Alright, let's see how good you can see it from here. Bob's totally going to be in the way. Bow. X, 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 defining the center line. Guard hands. Left vertical, right vertical. Step forward. Jab. Cross, arrow, recover. Step jab. Step cross. Crossover. Jab. Cross. Arrow, cover. Step jab. Step cross. Crossover. Depending on how much space you have where you're doing this, you will find that you may have to make your steps shorter. And that's fine as long as your stance is correct. You want at least, imagine this is my toes and this is my heel. So they're almost, they're in line, but they're not here. They're kind of like the toes, not the ball of the foot, is in front, okay? And at longest you want here where there's half a foot distance, okay? For me, I feel a lot of pull in the peroneus longus, so the side calf muscle there. But so you could make your steps, okay, smaller, as long, and that's sometimes useful. Okay, so traditionally in our system, the next thing you'd be learning is Silam Tao. Well, Silam Tao has got a lot of subtleties to it, and we will, if this lasts long enough, go over it. But instead, we're going to be using 27 movements. The first karate kata I ever learned. It's not a, I can't really find a lot of history on it. I know I learned it in the early 90s, and I know it's got to be older than that. Yoshikai Karate has it. I think some other karates had like adopted it. I'm not sure who the origin of it is. But like Silam Tao, it's a collection of very basic movements. And like Silam Tao, it doesn't walk, okay? So We're going to learn the first 10 movements, the first 5 techniques from 27 movements, and then we're going to do a comparison in the time that we have allotted today of hard blocking versus soft blocking. Okay? You've already kind of sort of seen one of the moves in Bagwan Jing, the reverse punch. Okay, so let's talk about the reverse punch and we'll go through it. All right. The vertical punch owns the center line in the top trigram, okay, in this frame. But from this frame, the reverse punch, the horizontal punch, owns that same center line angle and wedge creation here that vertical does there. So we're still hitting with the bottom 3 knuckles in line with that bone, which makes a big differentiation between us and karate in that. So, and our main target here is the solar plexus. Now, can you throw the horizontal punch high? Yes, there are reasons to. We'll talk about that later. But far less likely. Can the horizontal punch hit something other than the solar plexus? Well, if they're in a funky position, you're very much off center line. The ribs look good there. That's fine. Okay. You're in a half kneeling position. You could frog the quadricep with it on your way to stand up. Any number of targets in the ground or in a half clinch situation. So let's see it from the side. There's as many variations to it as there is vertical. They're almost the same in the way we teach it. So from neutral or horse stance, either one, this would just be horizontal punch. Okay? If we go to a forward stance, okay, it would be snap punch, reverse punch. You see how I turn a little bit more into that reverse punch. You could do a step snap punch, probably a lot less likely. But there could be reasons for it. More likely would be a step reverse punch. And then a classical finishing technique would be the karate way of doing it. Would be that's a lunge punch. For us, it would be more like you're blocking with this hand and hitting. That step reverse punch. Okay, you see the mat here under my feet? Watch that for a second. Watch my feet. It's a 45-degree step, right? Well, I can puck. We'll go over puck in a minute. I can punch here. I'm moving so the attacking is coming over my shoulder and I'm hitting the body as I go to flank him. All right. Let's go through 27 movements, the first 10, and then we're going to compare the karate hardstyle blocks, okay, which are the Okinawan and later Japanese and then later Korean adaptation of Southern Chinese blocks, and comparing to the blocks we inherit from Wing Chun. All right. So I'm going to start feet together, yoi. Okay. I'm going to cross arms. This is not an X block. My palms are out to the sides. Okay. And I'm going to step out, horse stance. Okay. Again, see how my knees are up, not in. They're up. Okay. Boom. Okay. First movement is a high or rising block. I'm going to cover here and come in front and draw this back. Okay. My wrist should be over my forehead in front. Out of the peripheral vision, I can see all of this. Cross again. Okay. From here, I'm going to reach up. My elbow is out to the side. I'm going to draw this back as this comes forward. This is going to straighten as this comes up. Draw back, hit. Straighten and come under. This comes out to the shoulder. Bring it back in, comes out to the shoulder. Come down and double cover. Low block comes out to the hip, but it's very far in front of me. Okay? Punch, punch. All right? I'm going to do that sideways. So you can see the distance from my body to the block. I'm going to do that again because I slipped off the edge of the mat. Boom. Draw in. Cover and block high. Cover and block high. Reach out. In, turn over, again, turn over, scoop underneath, turn over, scoop underneath, cover and block low, cover and block low, punch and kiai, punch and kiai. Okay. You will not see kiai in our system a lot, but it has a purpose. Okay. Learning how to breathe out when you strike can add power to the strike, just like breathing out when you do a bench press, okay? It can also tighten the abdominal muscles so you can take hits better. It can unsettle an opponent. If I'm here and we're going, I'm like, okay? That can, that's a little too much for my throat. I'm a little out of practice for that, but you get the idea. I should warn you next time I do that. So, let's go through each individual block and its purposes. Some of these purposes you're not going to be able to really do right now without a partner. And even then, I want you to be very careful if you got somebody you're playing with. The first one, the high block. Okay. From forward stance, it's just this. Okay. It can sweep here if something's coming in straight. Okay. It can block if there's an arcing attack coming this way. The Wing Chun equivalent to this, or the closest Wing Chun equivalent to this, would be Bill Sao. Bill is spear or thrusting. It comes forward a lot more. But you see how it's a very similar age uke? Okay? And Bill Sao. Alright? It covers a lot of the same lines. It can do a lot of the same things. But a karate block can lead to traps and locks. Okay? But a hard block is primarily meant to damage the attacking limb. Okay? A soft block is meant to parry, catch, capture, disperse an attacking limb. Okay? So, with that, with a hard block, we're kind of hard. Okay? With a soft block, we are firm at the end. Okay? A hard block can knock something away. A soft block does not want to knock something away because it wants to do something with it. So, this, okay, is my opponent's limb for now, so I've got a hold of his arm, right? This arm. If I've got a hold of this arm and I go up, I've bent his elbow, okay, the way it wants to bend, all right? And now I've got better access to the head, okay? If it's the opposite arm, okay, I've got a hold of his right arm, left arm with my right hand, okay, and I do this pull, I can wrench that arm. A lot more likely is I've got a hold of the arm and I'm now hitting the face, okay? Again, these are things I want you to know exist, so that way later on when we teach them, we're all together, you'll know, hey, these have got purposes. The ejuke can also be used as a upwards forearm strike to the neck or the side of the head. The bill sow does the same thing, but it's more through. Okay? Bill sow is usually always a bill da. Okay, we hit and block at the same time. Whereas the ejuke needs more power thrust, hip turn to power it. The next one is inwards block. I'll look up the Japanese name for this later. One of them's uke and one's soto uke, and I don't want to say them wrong, so inwards block. Okay. The punch is coming from this side. Okay. My hand's not here, it's just holding the thing. It just blocks inwards. But if my hand's here and I pull back, I am either attacking the tricep tendon, attracting the elbow itself, or I'm just battering that arm, okay? Or I could be setting up for an arm bar, okay? Don't try arm bars yet until we're really in person, or unless you have experience with them from Aikido or ninjutsu or something like that. All right. But what if it's on the inside? Okay, I've got a hold of his right arm with my left hand, and I come in this way, and I hit on the inside of the elbow. That can fold the arm up. Okay? Folding the arm up allows me other grappling situations. Okay? Outwards block. So there's two alternatives, soft style alternatives to the inwards block. There's jum sao, looks very similar, or pak sao. Pak sao is going to be more common, and you'll see me use it a lot. It's a slapping parry. Just slap something, just bounce it out of the way. And there's a lot, and this is a good time to talk about that. When you see me, this, from the block, punch. Later on, in the 5 elements section, we talk a lot about parry riposte, okay? Where I have blocked, and I strike off that same line. That's the first example of parry riposte in our forms. It's a lot more common for us to simultaneous strike and block, but sometimes rhythm is off, sometimes range is off, and sometimes the other hand's doing something else. So parry riposte is a very useful technique. Okay, outwards block. Okay, so in Wing Chun, we have 2 versions of this. We have Ten Sao, which can get to this point in several different ways. Ten Sao means dispersing hand. It just creates a little wedge there. Jum Sao and Ten Sao, those positions look very similar in the end. And Ten Sao can be whip out, press out, or shoot out. Okay? Any one of those creates what I call the keel. Okay? On a ship, okay, can you see this line right there? So instead of imagine this is a wooden sword, this is the front of the ship. That keel of the ship's job is to separate the waves, disperse so they move around the boat. Okay? So, tensile and jump sail are the keel. Okay? They create a wedge to move around the body. What the outwards block in 27 movements is far closer to is chun sao. It comes out to the shoulder. Ten sao is here in the middle. Okay, can you see the difference? Where my hand is here, my elbow is sunk to the body here, and now this here versus here. Look at the line underneath my feet of the mats. So this should be about where the line is, and this comes out to the side. So that's about getting it further around, and usually has more of a pop, like pak sao. So I've got this arm. Okay, my left has got a hold of his right. Okay, I am now pulling his elbow the way it doesn't want to go. Okay, so that could lead to me getting to the outside. All right. Well, what if it's reversed? What if this arm has got this arm? Left arm's got left arm. Okay. Now I'm bending the elbow the way it wants to go. So I need to be worried about this hand over here. But now I can get a hold of that head real easy because I've snuck in. Boom. All right. The last one is Gidan Barari, low sweeping. In Wing Chun, the equivalent is Guan Sao, or cultivating hand. Gidan Barari is a little bit deceptive. Okay, it can block the stomach, and that's perfectly fine. Okay, in application, it would be more here. Okay, and Guan Sao is the same thing. Okay, Guan Sao we'd almost always be punching with it. Okay, and Gidan Barari, it's a hard sweep low. Now, why? It could be a strike. Okay, hip, groin. Okay, with a captured leg, you can hit the leg. With a captured leg on the inside, you can hit the groin. Okay. Probably won't do very well with this, but you'll get the idea. Yeah. Now I'm not pushing with my arm. I am leaving my arm in front of me. I'm turning the torso. This is heavy. All that's water. Water's up to there. Okay? And I'm able to very easily, okay, you'll know if you have a heavy bag or a bob or something like that at home, even if you have a partner at home, you'll know that you're doing this wrong if you feel the pressure in the deltoid, the upper shoulder muscle. But if you feel just a little bit of tension there, but not a lot, that means you're pushing with the hips, with the torso, the trunk, a lot better. Okay, so let's go through the form again. I will ki in the punches, not as loud this time. All right. Boom. Draw in. Cover. Um, do it one more time. You'll notice I'm starting left hand. Almost all the time we're going to start left hand. Because left hand most of the time is dealing with the right hand. And most of the time the fight starts with the right hand. I'm going to do it facing my opponent this time so you kind of get a squaring idea. And with the idea of the range. So, come this way a little up so I can stand flat. Okay. This is how close you want to be for these techniques. I can put both palms on him without leaning forward very much. All right. So, cross, draw in. Cover, high block. Cover and high block. Reach out, inwards block. Turn out, inwards block. Turn out, outwards block. Turn out, outwards block. Cover, low block. Cover and low block. Fight! Fight! Okay. Why do we keep pulling back like that? Okay. Ski is this position. Hikite is the movement. Hikite means pulling hand, drawing in hand. Okay. We're actively pulling the opponent's arm each time. It's also teaching us making us isolate the movement. So that way I can make sure that my blocks are correct without the other hand being in a wusa-like position. I've been reading that some karate historians believe the katas were originally more here instead of here. But they were having problems with students not, when it wasn't actively a pull-in, maintaining this and this distracting them from what the main hand was doing. I can see how that could happen. Once you learn our karate-based katas, I would want you to try them here. So, gonna put myself on the spot and see if we can do it that way. Just follow, just watch. Don't worry about following along. Boom. Okay, draw in. Okay, so this one's already here. Okay, I just didn't draw it back. Okay. Now I would probably drop this. Okay. All right. So it ends up looking like the picture of the old bare knuckle boxers, which is almost a wusa. Okay, what should you do for next week? 16 punches. The first 10 movements of 27 movements. Okay, work on your 45-degree step and work on your pivot. Your walking step and drag step get covered in 16 punches. So if you're doing that, you're fine. Think about trying to incorporate Bajua Jing maybe 3 times a week. It works. I lift weights 6 days a week, and I do it before I lift weights every day. I do it for my one person I'm working on with Zoom videos. So 16 punches every day. 10 movements of 27 movements, okay? Won't take you 2 minutes. I'll see you next week. Wear your masks. Wash your hands. Drink water. Tip your delivery people.